Welcome to a new edition of Harness Central. I'm Harold Howe. I'm here at Tomaco Training Center, formerly Campbellville Training Center, with Greg Coon. As everybody knows, he and his brother Dan are the top track guys in North America, if not anywhere. And you're the only American who would come up here in January.
From Orlando.
Like, what's that about? But actually, you've been brought in to have a look at this place and see what you can do and what you can't do. And I guess, this place has been here, 30 years or something like that. And what have you found to be the state of the track?
The track's got some waves in it from neglect, I think, mostly. And the good news is when I spent yesterday with a surveyor, the turns for a half-mile track are on the large side, kind of huge. Not as big as Delaware, but certainly approaching that. And the stone dust is very, very thick. And if the weather gives us a little break, we'll take the waves out of it, and I think it'll be pretty decent.
What about from a drainage point of view? I mean, this track has had a bit of a history. In the springtime, some bad breakups. Any track can have breakups, but this one particularly. And what do you expect here?
Well, I think that the new owner is willing to address that. And there's one outlet for all the water that would collect in the center field. The back stretch would be a couple feet higher than the front stretch, so it wants to come that way anyway. It just needs to be cleaned up.
You're talking about the waves in the track. I mean, as we do this today, it's kind of a halfway decent day, but it's only January 7th. And are you going to have trouble with the frost we've had the last week and a half or whatever to get those waves out?
I think it's just going to be a massive grading effort. The trick is to catch a thaw and then just spend that day grading back and forth as much as you can before it turns too soupy to grade. And every time you blow back and forth across it, you feel a little bit of those waves. And if it was July, we're a day away. But now it's going to be a little bit of a struggle.
So am I right? There's a limited amount you can do right for the moment, but you can't make improvement. But you got to get through spring, and then you can tackle whatever major stuff you want to tackle.
Yeah, again, the turns are nice and big, and I think what we're going to wind up doing is banking it for a half-mile track about 10%, if we can fit it all in here. Delaware's 11, so it'll feel pretty good.
Okay, so here's an interesting question for you. As long as I've been in the game, the biggest, most consistent bitch among trainers is the track is never right. And for the life of me, I can't believe how many experts there are about this. I've been to Sweden, and you just don't seem to hear it over there. I don't speak Swedish, but when you talk to people, there seems to be consistency. Their climate's got to be similar to this. Like, what is the problem?
I think that all horsemen know what they like, and they don't necessarily know how to get there. And a lot of the trackmen sort of react to who's hollering the loudest. It's difficult. Wintertime racetrack anywhere is tough, but I agree with you. That's the main. I'd like to have $1 for every time somebody unloaded a trailer and looked around and said, "How's the track?" It's the first question.
Now, what about the material? I remember when Mohawk was redone a number of years ago. I mean, there was a big to-do about this. I forget what they called it. And there seems to be all these theories about material as well.
Yeah. I believe Mohawk went with something called trap rock that came from way east of here. And it worked very well. I believe, if I remember right, the blacksmiths loved it because it ground the shoes up pretty quick. But it did behave very well, and I think it's at Woodbine as well.
Yes. So if we come back here summertime, after you've done your magic, are the guys who are familiar with this track going to see a significantly different surface?
Oh yeah, I think it'll be a dramatic difference. The banking and the fact that I don't know how long there hasn't been pylons. I mean, everybody's been training in the ditch. I don't know how you could train to a watch. Yeah. So there, I expect dramatic difference.
Right. And you told me you had the surveyors out yesterday, and it's actually not quite a half mile.
It's a touch short, and in my mind, that's offset by the large curves. As you know, there's big fills in the backstretch in this turn we're standing in, and it would have cost a small fortune to get another 40 feet, 20 feet in each stretch. Right. So this is kind of what fit, and I think the trade-off was they made the turns real big.
Right. This is probably something that should have been done a long time ago. Really do a retrofit, for want of a better word.
Oh yeah, I think so. Every track should have somebody take a look at it every
But
4 or 5
didn't you
years.
tell me even Pompano was talking about getting something done?
Yeah, they were talking about scarifying it to take some of the hardness away for a while. But the weather got us down there with hurricane season.
But there's evolution of a track. It's like a living thing. Eventually, you have to go in and do work with it.
My dad was a big proponent of tearing the track up 4 to 6 inches deep once a year. Didn't matter what it was made out of, clay, stone dust, whatever it was. He just felt that as hard as it was when you started, it might get shiny hard within a week of you leaving, but it can't possibly be as tight as it was for if you didn't touch it.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Well, it was nice chatting with you, and good luck with the project, and we'll be talking with you, I guess, in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Harold Howe with Greg Coon, giving you the Harness Racing Edge.